Hey everybody, it's Zach from Myshire Farm, and we are back again with another video to help you on your journey with Coturnix quail and becoming more self-sufficient. This is one of the most important videos that I can do for you. This is talking about chick fatality and how to prevent it or how to troubleshoot it. I have a lot of people, especially new, that are not familiar with Coturnix quail. They do hatch out very, very small. They do grow very quickly, but they hatch out so small they're not really like chickens. They, especially the first week, they need a lot of attention. So this is to help you not lose that many chicks. I did do a video about this years ago. It is kind of hard to find on YouTube. I wanted to make it more accessible to you and update it for you. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I hope that it helps a lot. Remember, Sundays and Mondays we go live right here on our YouTube channel. You can ask questions and we will be more than happy to help you with your specific individual questions to help you on your journey with quail. But let's get right into it. So chick fatality. It happens. Some just don't make it for many different reasons. So we're going to give you a couple of tips and tricks on how to prevent that or how to troubleshoot and find out the cause for it. So first and foremost, it's moving them too early or too late during the incubation process or during hatch. So I know that some people do not open the incubator until they're all fully hatched, and that's 72 hours later. That's too late. They're getting way too weak. By the time you put them in the brooder, they're just too weak. They're not going to make it. So we recommend 24 hours. Once the first chick hatches, open up the incubator, take all the dry chicks out, move them to the brooder, and do that every 24 hours. You don't have to worry as long as it's a fast process, under a minute to a minute and a half. You're not going to shrink wrap the rest of the eggs, and you're keeping the chicks that did hatch out happy and healthy and plenty of space. They're not stepping on the eggs that haven't hatched yet. You're good to go. So we recommend 24. You can go up to 48, but best practice in our opinion is 24 hours. Every 24 hours, open that up. So that's number one. Number two is temperature. Temperature is a little tricky, but it's also pretty easy. So this is the process that you need to understand. So the chicks for Coturnix quail is about 1/3 of the size of a chicken chick. They are very, very small, but they do grow super, super fast. But during that first week, they are very, very small. They need a lot of heat. So the rule of thumb is that when you move them to the brooder, it's 99 degrees. Every day you take that up a half a degree or take it down a half degree. So 99 to 98.5 to 98 to 97.5, so on and so forth, right? That's really confusing. That's a lot of managing. It's kind of frustrating. That's not what we do, but that's technically the way to do it. What we do is we watch the chicks. They'll tell you, you watch them for 5 minutes a day, they'll tell you exactly what they need. So if you've got a heat lamp right here, or if you've got a heat lamp coming down, or even if you've got a heat pad, or whatever the case may be, if they are all cuddled up under the heat source, that means they're too cold. So you need to put more heat on them as quickly as possible. Now, if you've got a heat source and they're all the way to the side cuddled up, that means the heat source is too hot. They won't stay there. Okay, so you need to lower that temperature. What you want to see is the heat source and all the chicks being everywhere, under the heat source, around the heat source, moving around, very active. That's what you want to see. That's much better and much easier to manage than a specific temperature at all times. So that's a recommendation that we have. Secondly, is they love to drown. They think they're scuba divers. They are not. They do not know how to swim. So if you have like a chicken water that you use or whatever water source, if they can get into it, best practice is put some pebbles or some marbles inside the water to give them just a little bit so that they don't get wet, soaked, or drown, or whatever the case may be. You really only need to do that for the first week. After that, they've learned and they're good to go. So that's another best practice. Now, What we've learned the hard way, and hopefully you can learn this without making this mistake, is for the first week, you need to keep the food and the water as close as possible to the heat source. Because if you have it away from the heat source too far, they're going to be too lazy and they're going to get too cold walking to the food source or the water source, and so they won't, and they'll literally starve themselves to death. So make sure for the first week your food and water is as close to the heat source as possible, and as close as you're comfortable with, and then you can move it back and you're good to go. Again, after the first week, they are as easy and simple as possible. You just got to get through that first week hump. So we made that mistake, lost a lot of quail starting out, and hopefully you don't make that same mistake. So very close to the heat source the first week. Now, for years and years and years, we used bedding. Bedding is fine if that's what you want to use. Now we do not. They are on wire, but not the first week. The first week you can use the rubber grip cabinet stuff, like for the kitchen cabinets, you put that liner down. You can use that. That helps them grow and stabilize their legs. That helps a lot. We use the blue automotive paper towels like this. We put one roll down, or one layer down for the first week, and then after the first week we pull that up and they're on 1/2 by 1/2 inch wire. They're completely fine after that. So heat is very important. Pebbles in the water, very important. You really want to use a crumble. We do have a feed video. We use a pheasant starter, works wonders. You can also, you don't have to overthink the feed. You can use a turkey starter, anything that's high protein. You can use a game bird starter, not a big deal. Preferably a crumble, that will help a lot. I do not recommend that you grind their feed. It's not a good practice. Some people get away with it and it does well. A lot of people have huge issues with it. I'm actually going to be doing a specific video about that shortly with an expert. I'm supposed to get with them later on this week, so hopefully that will be coming out next week, but as soon as I can get that done, I will. But I do not recommend grinding the feed. They do fine with a crumble. A mesh will work as well. Pellets are too big for them, but a crumble works great. We do not grind the feed. We do not recommend it. And then, again, you just want to keep watching the quail, and they're going to tell you what they want or what they need. Make sure that they have food and water at all times. Once you're past the first week, they're not as heat dependent. They can go on wire, and the food and the water source does not need to be close to the heat source. And so really, you're just getting through the first 5 to 7 days. Once you do that, you're off to the races, you're good to go. So those are just a couple of examples and a couple ways to eliminate or limit to a very small amount chick fatality. If you have anything that you do differently, feel free to comment below. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. We'll be happy to answer. And again, remember, Sundays and Mondays we go live for questions and answers just for you, to help you on your journey with Coturnix quail. So I hope you visit us there. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope this helps. And check out the comments for other people's ideas on what they do differently as well. So thank you very, very much. And until next time, everybody, stay safe.